Hello and welcome. Good evening, and welcome to another episode of A Few Good Men, where we're partnering with the Parent Teachers Association of the Anglican High School, and they have their new program called Fathers Knows Best. I would like to give everyone the opportunity. Once you come on, guys, share the live. Don't be selfish. Share the live so that people can get to view the program. We are going live on Facebook, and also we are streaming live on YouTube as well. All right, guys, share the live, share the live. Please feel free to drop a comment in the comment section. We definitely will be paying attention to that. And this is definitely going to be an interesting conversation, knowing that we are coming into the festive season, the holiday season, Christmas. It is a time for family. It's the time for reflection, time for enjoyment, fun, whatever word you want to use. This is the time for it. However, today's topic, we'd like to look at the shift in the culture of how we look at Christmas, or how we celebrate Christmas. And here today we have members representing the PTA of the Anglican High School. We will lead off here with its president, Monty Greenwich. I'll bring him to the platform.
Good day, good
Greenwich,
day,
how
good
are
day.
you, my brother?
I'm good. Are you hearing me loud and clear?
Yes, I'm hearing you loud and clear. And I'll also bring in my good friend here, Yusuf, to the program. How are you?
Yusuf, I think you're muted.
You're mute.
Yeah. Pleasant good afternoon, everyone. May the peace and blessings
You're
of God
muted.
be upon you all. You hearing me?
Yeah, I'm hearing you
Wonderful.
now. Yeah.
Yes, I'm hearing you loud and clear. And new to the platform, we have Mr. Terence Walters. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much,
Welcome
gentlemen.
to the program, Mr. Walters.
Yes, thank you very much, gentlemen,
Wonderful.
and good afternoon to everyone, and welcome to all those who are
Right.
locked onto the program at this time. Thank you.
Right. So we encourage everyone, please, as you log in, share the live. Feel free to comment. This is an opportunity for us to have an interesting conversation, looking at how Christmas celebration has evolved in Grenada. Is it going in the right direction? They say change is not always good. Some say change is. Who's to say? But today we'll have that discussion. First off, and this, I'm throwing out this question to anyone willing to take it. I think Mr. Walters, I think I'll start off with you since you're new to the program. Yeah. So what do you remember Christmas being like back when you were young?
Well, that's a very long time ago, yes? Very long time ago. But Christmas, I remember Christmas, being about, so you do a lot of cleaning, and then you do a lot of cooking, and you're getting ready for the day. It's basically the day and the things you have to do to prepare. So there's cooking, there's baking, there's the ham, the sorrel, the gingerbread. You have to make sure you have all those things in place for Christmas morning. So those are some of the memories I have of Christmas. And then it's like you're young, so you get a few dollars to go into town to buy a toy, to get something, and then you remember things like having grapes and apples and so it was like a special time of year when you have those things available to you, or readily available to you. Okay, so so that's what I remember about Christmas back about 40 something years ago.
Wow.
40 plus years ago. Yeah.
Wow. Well, Yusuf, so I'd like to hear from you. How did you enjoy Christmas? And what was the atmosphere like for you? What made Christmas for you?
Well, to begin with, being non-Christian, I would take it from that perspective. Um, what I would say, you hear me loud and clear?
Loud and clear.
Excellent. What I would say, my observation of the Christian festival in terms of what's happening around me, there was tend to be more of a family-oriented togetherness, if I must say, in terms of sharing, people looking out for one another, people visiting, hell, even making up for with the neighbors. For the whole year, they may not be talking or getting along, but at that point in time, they use that as an opportunity to share. Unlike I might say present day. So that's my take on it.
I'm kind of interested. And I'm assuming that everyone knows that your religious
Muslim. Yes,
affiliation,
yes,
right? Yes. Okay. Good.
yes,
So I can say it. Good. So you're Muslim.
yes.
What is it like around this period for someone who is Muslim? Who,
Well, as I would say, I'll contextualize it. So being Muslim in a non-Muslim environment, um, for me, it is, how did I put it? I'll put it in the context of being a child, not present day. So I'll look at it from that aspect of it. Being a child and being impressionable, looking around that everybody is sharing and getting toys and drinking and being merry, it was questioning from the point of view, look, the folks having fun, what about me? Because we didn't have that aspect. As Muslim, we have two celebrations, which is Eid and so forth, which is the Eids, basically. So from that aspect, we don't have that sharing of toys and all that merriness, basically. So it was, from a child perspective, it was, what about me? Can I do it? That kind of thing. Fast forward being adult, understanding without more or less touching on toes. I mean, that is not Christ's birthday when you chronologically look at how things are laying off and so forth. Nowadays, it's different. Different in the context. You see more a commercial aspect of it, looking out towards the Christians in terms of if it's their thing and it's supposed to be centered around a certain thing, that too has moved away from that. So that's my take on that.
Okay. So Cullen is back. Cullen is just trying to sort out a slight feedback problem. So I will just take the opportunity to step in and give a little, you know, go down a little memory lane and give you all a little bit of my experience growing up and Christmas and what is it meant to me, right? Let me start by saying, as I say, good day and happy Sunday to all the persons who are on here listening today. Hope your Sunday has been going fine, and I wishing you all the best for the holidays to come. All right. So Christmas, what Christmas has meant to me. I would go back to my childhood days, and I could tell you, Christmas has always been bittersweet for me. Right, bittersweet because um it's just like how Yusuf alluded to certain things. Sometimes as a child, you wanted certain things, but you're not. Your parents may not have always been in a position to do so, right? But still, it was sweet, you know, because and I maybe looking back at it now, maybe you're kind of able to appreciate it more because your parents made the best of what they had, right? But there were certain traditions that came with it. So, for instance, when school gave vacation and you went home for Christmas, there was a whole set of cleaning you had to do. As a matter of fact, I vividly remember having to be either hanging out some window, cleaning on the outside of the glass on the top level of the house. You understand? Using newspaper to shine it so you get that proper shine. You know, after you wash it, you had to shine it. If the glass was coming out, you had to go and buy they would buy we call it as putty or whatever it is to make sure or to change the glass. things that you never, and maybe not even on that, I never kind of understood why you had to do it, because you're up in the high ceiling trying to clean on top of ledges where nobody's seen, but at the end of the day, it was important. It was part of, and I think it's part of structure too. But I'm just saying this to say, because there was so many things, whether it was the scrubbing of the floor, the varnishing of the floor, um, all these things was just part of the tradition growing up in, and when Christmas coming around, because so you expected it. It was a whole set of work, right? But then Christmas would have come around, and you know, that's Christmas had a smell to me that I always appreciated. And I think that smell came from maybe the new paint if they're painted, the varnish on the floor, um, just a clean environment, then the baking of the fresh bread, maybe the boiling of the ham or the baking of the ham, whether because there was a time I didn't I only get into salt after we kind of used to do the pre-cook ham. We just stick it to the cloves and and do all the fancy thing. Um, and I
Too young
always
for that,
remember,
boy. Too young for that. I don't know.
yeah. Watch, listen to me. There was just certain things about it, as I said, that was just it just gave you an aroma and a scent that even as a adult now you could just, it's a bit nostalgic. You could go back and remember those that scent of Christmas. You know, and even on Christmas Eve, you have to go and test when they cook the ham. You there right there, right in like in the wings, they're waiting to get a first taste of the ham to see how it is. You understand? So as I said, it's always been because a lot of work, and sometimes you didn't always get what you had to get, but the your parents made the best of what they had, and it was always been an enjoyable time, not just for just about gifts, but it's about family. Because if there was one time, the family came together, was around Christmas, whether it's to have Christmas breakfast on Christmas morning or Christmas lunch, and that, the whole 9 yards, and you do grace and all these different things that you don't do during the year. So it's a lot, you understand? And I guess I can't say everything in this in one you know shot at it, but just to kind of wrap it up, I think that's where that's where my memory take me as to what Christmas was for me as a child,
Right.
and it's something that you always try to replicate, but sometimes you feel as though you're falling short. Even today, you feel as though you're
Mm,
falling short. Yeah,
okay.
Can I
No. Yes, by all means, come in.
can
yeah,
I jump in here?
yeah,
So things are different. Now you mentioned the vanishing,
yeah.
but now we have tiles, so we
Yep.
don't need to vanish again.
Well,
Okay,
yeah. That's true.
right?
Mm.
So most of us have tiles, and then and what about baking in the jump pan oven? When you
Yeah,
had
I
to
remember that.
Yeah, yeah.
right? And
Mm.
so you got that aroma in the air because everybody had the jump pan oven outside, and
Mhm.
people were baking a cake and different things.
Mhm.
In terms of the ham, my first love was the salt ham.
Yeah,
Pre-cooked ham came later for me.
yeah,
Okay, so it was a salt ham. Yeah, so
yeah.
I guess we have different experiences.
Wait.
But
The salt
but
time is for bougie people or what?
no,
What
No,
is the difference? Okay,
for
well,
now.
I don't know. I think maybe if to think about it, maybe one was more expensive than the other.
which one?
I can't say that with 100% certainty, because
Okay.
no, I know it's really expensive these days to get a salt time.
Very.
Um, and
Mm,
most of them that you're getting, they're kind of on the big side. But
okay.
the thing about it, what Terence was talking about, in my household, we had the pre-cook ham, right? But what really introduced me, other people had, I remember going over by my aunt, right? Either was it on Boxing Day or whenever it was, and she had salt ham, and that was my first, when I taste the salt ham, to be honest with you, I get a whole different appreciation for ham after that. I didn't want pre-cook ham after that, you know. So if I have a choice and that's what it have available, you roll with it. But trust me, You can't beat our salt time when it comes to Christmas.
Okay.
Yeah, my preference is the salt.
Salt
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
All right. I'm pescatarian, so I can't be involved in this conversation. But
Okay.
anyway,
Well,
yeah. But it leads me to my next question. Now this is, and I hope this is not one of the shows where we say, oh, we want the old days, the long time days come back, and oh, the old time days was better than now. This is not that type of show or that type of program. But what we're trying to get at is somewhere along the line, over the years, we have seen the meaning of Christmas and from a cultural perspective has changed. Now, I would leave it up to you to decide whether is it going in a direction that we are happy with? Is there are things that we're losing in the process? What is it like now? For people who actually celebrate Christmas, a grenade for the
oh,
Grenadian Christmas, yes. So I'll throw
is
that
that
out to anyone.
it's an open okay.
Open question to anyone.
All right.
Yusuf, Yusuf been silent a bit.
Yes, we'll go.
Come.
Well, let's put it this way. Because I'm not one into the Christmas,
Mm.
based on the nature of it, respect regarding the pork and the other stuff, you won't find me really commenting.
No, no, no,
How-
no.
However, I would look at it this angle from today's perspective. I think many a times we don't prioritize. I mean, it's all well and good that level of camaraderie and family and so forth. What I would say I would like to see, from a holistic point of view and from a societal point of view, is that brotherhood, sisterhood, that familyhood. Instead of getting caught up in terms of let's change out, let's get a new fridge, let's get a new stove,
Hmm.
putting it into the context of the way cost of living and other things is happening, and coming off of, let's say, if you want to go a little back from Ivan and COVID, in the Grenadian context, where with Ivan you understand that you don't need certain things, and with COVID you come to realize to put things in perspective as to the importance of family and friends. you know so I would say from that angle, what I would like to see is that togetherness. Let's be our brother and sister keeper. Let's look out for our neighbor as we should, instead of trying to compete, or how should I say, or make people pay. In other words, because you're in a better position now, that when, unlike when you were growing up than they are now, that you find the table turn to be able to be vindictive or otherwise. I would like to see that level of togetherness, sisterhood, brotherhood, family, family
Right.
ties. Even family now, you find family fight down one another in certain contexts. So if it's a case where you want to say, let's use Christmas as the catalyst for bringing back that togetherness, then so be it. From that perspective.
Okay.
Okay.
Yusuf,
Well,
anytime I,
one of
I
the
do
things,
Yeah.
come to you. Oh, sorry. Continue, Mr. Walters.
one of the things I remember about Christmas is having to get up early on Christmas morning to go to church.
Ha.
All right. I mean, I grew up with my grandmother, and so church was, I think it was 5 or 5:30, so you had to get up early to ensure you go to Christmas morning service. All right.
There is
Uh,
novena.
right. Well, so that's for the Catholic, right?
Yeah.
Catholic as novena, and so I'm in the evangelical. So you have Christmas morning service, but it's interesting that Yusuf mentioned family and brotherhood and so forth, because Christmas Day for me growing up, we didn't have a lot of family come over. Okay, so it was just us at home. But I have I have taken um, I have taken the stance that I want to ensure that in my household we have uh, a big family day on Christmas Day. So every year we have a family dinner at my house. Okay, where we invite brothers, sisters, cousins, everybody, just gather at my house. So even though it's once a year. But I mean, we try to do this more often. But on Christmas Day, we try to make it a family day where we come together. Yes, it's about the birth of Jesus Christ and all of that, but we don't know if Jesus was born on the 25th of December or the 5th of August or whatever. So we're not going to debate that in terms of the day or whatever, right? But we understand what the season is about, and we do everything to ensure that we make it a family occasion. Okay, because that is very important. That we're pushing family, and it's important for us to find an opportunity to bring families together, so we get to know who is who. We get to be closer to each other, and we get to share that bond that we need to continue sharing in our society.
Okay. I'm going to come in here because we're speaking about family. When I'm and you, so I think you touched on it, the competition between neighbors. Um, Now, I shouldn't speak on where I am, but I've seen in other neighborhoods where you have competition, where if one household does something, then the other household has to outdo them. And then we end up in this conundrum in January where we overspend and we are, as we say, scrunting, you know, and waiting for January to finish. They say January is what, 6 weeks? So my thing is yes, Anna Yusuf, I know you touched on it. Where did this stem from? What are your opinions on that?
Well, this is how I would put it. With capitalism, and that push, especially nowadays with all this media and the hype, the different medias, whether it be social, print, whatever, the push that tells you. So, in other words, you no longer think for yourself. Many a times you rely on the media to tell you what's in fashion, what's new, whether you should change to your new iPhone, your new Samsung, that the new fridge is out, the new car is out, and that you need to get it. Is the to do thing. So that's where I would see a lot of this going, because let's face it, many of us grow up or come from poor backgrounds that you make what you had function and work. You had a fridge, a stove. Okay, so you had a five burner and one stop work. You've been using it for the whole year since the last year, and now you decide, oh, it's Christmas. I need to get a new stove. So I would say from the hypes in terms of you need to get this, and especially when they entice you for those who are vulnerable, that there's no down payment. It's you get into the deal now before it goes, So I would think some of it comes from along those lines of you wanting to be what is the term that is you like the Joneses?
Keeping up with the
Yeah.
Joneses?
Yes, from along those lines. I mean, granted, I would think to some of us, few of us would use the opportunity to capitalize on deals. You're thinking smart ahead that look, this used to you might save a $300 or $400 now.
Hmm.
So let me buy and put this down, or let me do the change out now from that angle. But the majority, I would like to think, tend to go the other way.
But and Monty, I want to bring you in here. But from a perspective of consumerism, someone well, we wouldn't mention. We all know the place where everyone goes to buy, their furniture. We would mention where they are, but
Mm.
everyone should know that hire purchase is never a good thing. You know,
Nice. Never a good idea.
it's
It's
never a good idea. You're just
no,
postponing.
But
but
sometimes,
Yeah,
that's
you
the only
okay.
way.
Yeah.
That's the only means you have,
Yeah,
right?
it's true. It's
but
That's
it's
the
a
true.
only.
vicious cycle. It's a vicious
Yeah.
cycle.
Especially persons with people trapped in a lower income bracket. Sometimes you could see it from the point of view is watch, I working hard whole year. I can't even afford a vacation. Right? This is the one time I can, and I'm using splurge guardedly because the definition for splurge for some of these people is a normal they walk in a park for another person, what we call the so-called middle class, right, or upper class, right? And so then it's still depend on how you look at it, it still coincides with that of trying to make just the holiday comfortable for your family and by extension friends. You understand? Because some people just don't have the luxury of some of these things. So when, for instance, you have, as I say, certain entities say, okay, you have higher purchase and you could get no down payment until such and such and such. In your mind, some people not even thinking as far down the road as the 3 months away or the month or wherever it is, all they know is that on Christmas in December, between that time and that time, they could feel special and the family could feel special for that limited time. And how they say it, that go see for yourself when we reach that bridge, we go cross it. You understand? So so in essence, yes, I think all of us know we know for over the years you always hear January being the Brooks month of the year. Um, but that just has come part for the course because um I think too why we have to recognize too why some people spend more that time too is
Mhm.
that because a lot of businesses, if they have to give something extra, and I can't say which comes first, is the chicken or the egg. If businesses decided to compensate their workers extra bonuses, whatever it is, if it which came first, if Christmas as a result of Christmas, if that's why they do it that way, or if it was the other way around. But that's why people tend to have more spending power at that time too. So hence the reason why I see some people would go and spend more, right? And it all ties to spring. Maybe not in our culture, we don't use that term spring cleaning, right? But it's like our version of spring cleaning. The whole year you never give your house a proper, you know turn upside down. Listen to me, this thing used to get me frustrated when my parents, well, my mother, and by extension my aunt and um cousins and who were my grandmother and so, because I grew up in an extended family type, right? These people used to literally turn the house upside down. You can't even find things you're looking for because all that was there, all clothes and drawer get empty out. The drawer had a sun, the drawer had a scrub, everything. You can't find nothing, and it's sometimes frustrating. I have an aunt, right? To this day, she like thing was saying that now you have tiles, right? I have an aunt. She had tiles now, right? And she's still doing, if in case, because some people prefer that wooden finish on the floor so they could do parquet or even a wooden floor even though it's a concrete house, right? And back then we grew up in what I call one of those older colonial types, how kind of architecture. So these houses are always making dust, so you had a real clean and whatever it. But she still carries on with that culture of turning the house upside down. Up to this week, actually yesterday, I spoke to her and she said, well, it's that time of year, the house in a mess. You know, we had an uncle from the States every year religiously used to call his and just used to say, well, I know the house in a mess because he grew up in that culture too. You understand? But when he moved to America, I guess he moved away from that because of it. Obviously the culture is slightly different.
Right.
But I think a lot of it, although it has become commercialized, I think what drives it is the fact that businesses have pounced upon the opportunity that is when people, because they just want to have that, you know, great
Mhm.
holiday, and when they have excess money, that is why people, the business, all these things, is all intertwined.
Okay.
So,
Okay. All
If
right.
I may add, though,
Yes. Mhm.
yeah.
shortly, it's amazing as we get older, even myself being a logical person. If you break it down in terms of the time they spent and
Mhm.
when they start doing it, everything starts in December.
Yeah.
Nothing start prior to that. So what you find is they uphold the whole night. Christmas come and go, and they're still in finish clean, and they're tired, they're frustrated, they're snapping. They didn't even get to enjoy the stuff they bake. So
That's
sometimes you
true.
ask yourself,
Yusuf ain't even want to
what's
go there now, boy.
happening?
Oh gosh.
You know what I'm saying? So the,
Yeah.
the the New Year's now, they're still tired and resting up and wondering what family come and go. They didn't even know what's happening, who and see who, you know? So it's
But
amazing.
but Yusuf, what you just said is so true because even I used to be kind of, as I say, Christmas always used to be bittersweet. And you see what you just talk about there? These are one of the moments that used to be a bit bitter for me because they used to have you doing all this work. And then sometime Christmas morning, after you do all the cleaning, they still ain't finished put away the house yet, right? And you tell yourself, okay, when you have your own family and things, so you ain't going down that road. Boss man, I might get married to a woman. We have children now, and she doing the same thing. Christmas morning come, and by the time she finish, after the time she's so tired, she can't even enjoy the day because she burnt out. You understand? You know, you had to do yard, you had to do this, you had to do that, and then in all the cleaning, you still had to do all the cooking and things. So in time for Christmas morning, so is boy,
I want to jump in here, and
yeah, yeah,
Mr. Walters, I want to bring you in on this. As we're talking the commercialization, we know Christmas is the time for giving presents, and the young kids receiving their presents is something that they look forward to on Christmas Day. But with the advent of technology, we give our children the latest technology.
uh,
Do you see this interrupting? Because I know for you as a father, you would like to spend time with your kids. Your wife want to spend time with the kids. Do you see technology interfering with that camaraderie, of family togetherness? I don't know, from your perspective. Okay, so I think
So
he's.
it can
Oh,
interfere with it can interfere with the quality time. Okay, so it can interfere. However, you have to manage that. You can give your children the latest technology, the various games, the smartphones. They can have it, okay, but it's how you manage the time you spend with them, okay. And you have to ensure that while they have, because the children, they're growing up in a world that's driven by technology. We can't get away from that. It's driven by technology. Okay, so you should not deny them of the use of the technology, because even in school they have to use the technology. Good, but you now have to ensure that in your household, with your family, you do things so that you can spend time together. You can spend time talking. You can sit and have a meal. You can do other things, play games, etc. together. So again, it's how you manage it. That's what I think.
okay. You
but
yourself.
but but
Oh,
oh, good.
no, Monty, come
Yeah,
in. You.
I was just
Mhm.
going to say, I think it's part of a vicious cycle, because growing up, I think when you got presents, right, from your parents and whether it's extended family and so, right, you saw a progression, right, and I think we have come to a place now because of technology is that we no longer have presence that basically is, I don't want to say age appropriate, because in the context of the what we would call the back in the day, olden days, a cell phone really and truly might be age appropriate because of the price is somewhat prohibitive. And as you get older, then you give your teenage children and so something more, But put it this way, when you have come to a place where right now you give your children a cell phone at ages, these days they start at even as early as 5, they're giving children a cell phone and so, and you're giving them a tablet at these same ages, this very young tender ages. Tell me, what is it exactly you're giving your children when they become teenagers and so that could even wow them, or even to, because really and truly part of sharing gifts was about the anticipation of what you wanted for Christmas, and whether or not, whether you're using Santa Claus or whatever it is, you get what you wanted for Christmas, right? But it's just that I find that the gifts have gotten so extreme, it's like there's no boundaries anymore. Let me just tie this into something I saw on social media recently, yeah? And I know it's not about giving gifts or anything, but it puts into perspective where we are now with regard as parents, and when it comes to parenting, and the amount of money we give to our children and we spend on our children, and everybody just take it for granted. I saw somebody put up a post and it was something to do with some kind of a harvest or fair. And I think it was they were saying that they have a problem with the fact that I don't know who tell them or who mandate that they have to give the child $150 to go to a fair. And I was looking at the comments and I was in awe, listening and reading that people give their children $250 to go to a fair, to go to even $150 to go to a harvest or fair. And I was in awe about that because it all comes down to age appropriate, right? And I don't understand where how we came to that place where we think, okay, that you could just give children money. And they see it's all about we not giving them any values because everybody think that everything come easy, you know. And it's the same thing as with Christmas, whereby you used to, hope that you get what you want in Christmas and you was a good boy or a good girl, right? And you get rewarded for being no children getting rewarded for bad behavior and all, right? Because I just don't understand. So I just think that sometimes we have to rein things back in and
Right.
put things into perspective because we as parents just go off the rails. Yes, we want to make our children happy. We want to give them the gift that they want, but sometimes really and truly they don't.
They,
I don't
they
want to say
didn't
they
they
don't
didn't
deserve it,
I
but
didn't
they
want
didn't.
that.
They didn't work for it.
They didn't work for it.
Yeah, they
Yusuf,
did.
Yusuf,
Yeah.
I wanted to come in on here.
Yeah.
So this is what I would say from my family perspective. I try to, like, for example, my daughter, well, the second one, she's now in Form 2. And it's not until she were in Form 1 going in Form 1 that I give her a cell phone to be able to communicate because I feel, again, apart from the distractions, a lot of the children, they don't appreciate what they get or know how to value it. Simply because their friend haven't have one, they want one also.
Okay.
And I am a practical and functional person, meaning I would give you a phone not to play games, is so I could get in touch with you. You're out and about, you could get in touch with family and so forth. So even I try, from my perspective, to have at least 1 or 2 meal per week sitting with the family. No phones. They know there's a rule. There's no phone or no distraction. So at least, and then for me, certain things because of how I grew up too, and it lends to what happens now. So you would find, and people don't realize, just sitting and have a meal without a device, even if there's no verbal communication, you get an opportunity to say, how was your day? What happened in school? You catch up with your spouse as to how is work going? What's troubling you today? So you open that area for dialogue with human interface, not device interface, whereby whether it's your work colleague or your friend in school, whole day you're seeing one another, but you come and you text and you just reach. And sometimes, many times, it's nothing. I would always say, many a times you hear a lot of us folks talk about yesteryear. It's not so much about yesteryear, and you don't want to take away technology. But to me, it was easier. You call up somebody and say, let's go and make a hang online, versus you're online doing what? Talking. You could interact, go on the beach, you could go hiking, you could do stuff. So from my perspective, I try to not allow those devices, even though sometimes I would find myself, you get up, apart from just checking the time before you even give thanks and praise for a new morning, you want to see what you have to try to curtail that because it's embedded now. You even get, like when I want to say you train an animal or dog, you say suka or you use a command. It's like now you hear the device go off and you're ready. You're always waiting. It going off too often, you're like, what's happening? When it's not going off, you check in to make sure, is it working? How come nobody can call me? So it opened up a whole psyche. So to me, we need to somehow see how we could reprogram and gradually do those stuff. Yeah.
You're absolutely correct, because this device is actually giving me anxiety, yeah? And I've realized that for a number of years. But Mr. Wald, I see you laughing. Do you get anxiety from technology?
So, sorry, say that again if I get.
No, no. If do you get anxiety from you know?
But no, I wouldn't say anxiety. Because of the job I do, I'm in disaster management.
Oh,
I always have to be close to my phone, or my phone should be close to me.
right.
Okay, because anything can happen at any time,
True.
and I always have to must have my phone with me. Okay, but I can't say that I get anxiety. From with the technology at all. At all, can't say that.
Oh, well, actually, something that I need to address because I think for me, it's almost like just like what Yusuf was saying. We the first thing in the morning you want to get up. All right, so maybe what did I miss? What did I miss? It's like you feel like your whole life is just going.
Ah, okay.
You know, when you're not paying attention to it. So it's kind of like, all right, what did I miss? And it almost this push. It's like anxiety. But be that as it may, that's just the other
But
side of
Colin,
technology. Yeah.
you talk about anxiety. I think we have come to a place now, and I don't want the discussion to be about cell phones because
No, no, no.
there's other technological devices that has now allowed our young people and our children to become very antisocial. Even the games and so all the PlayStations and the different all these games. You have some people that spend hours upon hours, right? Because you're online playing these games and you're playing it with other people and so. And all of these things are very, very high on the list of Christmas gifts, you know. But but the reality is that if given we have come to a place, if let's say Colin, you running late for an interview or you're running late to work and you reach halfway, we have come to a place that people prefers to be late for work, will go back home and collect their phone if they left it home. That's how bad it has become. You understand?
Mhm.
They just can't do without it. You understand? So I just wanted to put that on top of because it's literally we come. Listen to me, man. You remember just some time back there was something that happened where there was the system went down. Was it social media went down or
How
whether it is
soon? How recent was that? I'm
that
trying to
was
remember. I
sometime
I vaguely
maybe
remember something like that.
yeah,
That was
maybe
WhatsApp. That was WhatsApp, and
WhatsApp. Was it
WhatsApp.
WhatsApp?
yes, yeah.
WhatsApp went down. Okay.
Mhm.
It wasn't Facebook, just WhatsApp.
Well, it's all of them on the same platform.
Right.
WhatsApp, Facebook, yeah.
Okay.
Listen to me. And people were like, as though they were like fish out of water. They just didn't know what to. It's like
Mhm.
because some people just everything they had to post, whether they eating some food, they had to post that it was just. So I said I don't want to go down the road
No,
about
no,
technology,
Anyway,
but
no,
so
no.
let's yeah.
I just want to comment. I
Yeah.
Yes.
just want to comment, right?
Hmm.
I work in disaster management. So I know if we have a hurricane like Ivan, you know what's going to happen, right? Everything will be done.
Down. That's right.
Okay? Everything will be done. Because 20 years ago when we had Ivan, we didn't have the technology like we have now. Good? And this is 20 years on. So remember after Ivan, we had nothing. You had no electricity, no television, no cable, no nothing. And if you have now with climate change, if you have a category 5, that's gonna devastate you, and your systems will be down for a while, or people are going to suffer. So we have to be mindful of that.
Okay. Quick question. As you mentioned Hurricane Ivan, because I want to switch the conversation now to speak about the music and Parang in particular, right? But just before we switch the conversation, I'm trying to remember. I can't remember what it was like during around the Christmas time after Hurricane Ivan. Anyone remember what did we do? How did we spend Christmas? What was that like?
Um,
Ah,
People are building back.
Walters, hold on, Eddie
Yeah,
Walters, yeah.
okay,
yeah,
go
yeah.
ahead.
Walters, yeah. So yeah, continue.
Yeah, people were building back. A lot of places were without electricity still. A lot of countries started getting back electricity, and so I think that year, I remember us trying to see how we can get together, whatever little we had, to ensure that we enjoy Christmas. Because remembering what happened with Ivan, you figure this is a time. Let's just ensure that we enjoy little that we have.
Okay. All right. So I want to just shift the conversation now to the music around that we normally would get around Christmas time, and which is parang music. And I'm sure if I remember clearly, Parang Music started off as it's like the village newspaper, where you it's like how we do the news roundup, the year in review. I don't know if I'm could tell me if I'm wrong. That was my perception as to where Parang, evolved. Am I
So
correct? Yes, no?
so is that a melee parang that derived from Karaku?
What, right. So I
Because
want to know. I want to know the melee parang. Was it always a melee parang, or I don't know. I'm too young to
well,
chime
let
in.
me put it this way: when it comes to parang, right? And I don't want nobody, jumping on me for I have never been a fan of parang, and I guess maybe because of what is be since I know it, I find it was always kind of a melee kind of a thing. If I had to gravitate to parang, I more gravitate towards the I don't want to call it Trini parang because I don't know where but I know it has maybe have some Spanish background, you know. But I've never really been fussy about the parenting because I just find some of them they go over the top.
You're right.
And in addition to that, I always just like the old school music, right? You know the and people might say, okay, this is American and European type music and so on about culture, right? But the reality is that is what I grew up listening to. You're listening to the Nat King Coles and the Sammy Davis and those old the Dolly Parton's Christmas songs. Something about that music to me, it just
Mm-hmm.
used to put you in the mood for Christmas. It was just more soothing. It was because I think traditionally Christmas was always you know, growing up there was two vacations that you always remember. When you go for the summer vacation, which is carnival, and there's a Christmas. So Christmas was always the more family oriented, lay back, quality time event. Carnival was a different thing. You're going having a good time, right? So I just prefer that music because I think it lent more
Mm-hmm.
to family
Right.
and just this kind of a solemn mood it used to just set when you listen to I don't know if you may not know but you're in media, right? So you would know of the names. I remember the days in the days of Radio Grenada when you had people like Harold Paisady
Of
and
course.
Troy Garvey, and so when you hear these guys and the Lou Smith and so the kind of music they used to play on the air and the choices of songs, you know, it was just different, even down to I don't know. The times has just changed so much. I don't know if you remember, there was a time that we used to get jazz on the radio as part of the repertoire of music that was available to us. So we were more
Right.
rounded, right?
Okay.
So, and as I said, I know it's Christmas music and we're talking about the parang, but I'm just making that point to say, I think the diversity back then led me to enjoy that type of music more than the parang and the by extension as I say and I want to qualify parang the melee parang in particular.
Okay.
I don't know who like it,
So
but
so
I
wait.
never really liked it.
So Mr. Walter, I want you to comment on this. So was it always melee parang? I don't
Well,
know. Like I said, I'm too young.
no, I remember, Parang from Trinidad. The kind of Christmas Parang music. But the Karaku Parang around Christmas time. That's the melee. That's the melee.
So that's
No,
uniquely okay.
yeah,
Parang.
that's
Okay.
what I'm remembering about it. The melee. I mean, I like Parang because of the rhythm and so forth. But I think like Monty said, it's gone overboard now, and we're just into the melee street. But I think we need to make a shift. We need to make a shift.
They
Yusuf, come
lost
in here.
they lost the picong, where you would it more just about degrading people or who could come up and say the worst. Versus if you were to backtrack, you would realize it was a kind of rivalry, but kind of good competition. It's if I may reference it to how back in the day they used to rap each other throw words for one another, like talk a so and all this kind of stuff. That you could have done that. But now it's about, ooh, I could see we're trying to outdo each other. Some of it not even true. You just hear say there's no background check. Before, it was factual or background. So, for example, I know my neighbor and everybody in the area. If you want to go down the road, no, he getting on. So everybody already know it. But they took that now and they put it in a poetic kind of way. You know that even the man himself who gets in it or woman, they laugh off for it. You know, versus now is a case where it's just smut and dirty. It's just raw,
Raw.
as a raw sewage.
So where, what do you know why it you know it took that turn to being just that raw? Like,
Again, if I may, I would say some of it again has to do with social media. We doing it for the likes, not the love, you know, kind of thing.
right.
So it's about the likes, not about the love. Whereby let's keep it clean. Let's see what we could do. It's about who I need rating, I need stripes. So who could do the wildest thing, you know, from that angle.
You know, I totally agree. And I think because I listen to some of the new ones on on a bus, and I'm like, where did I mean, like, why is it that so important? Why do I need to know this? How is that helping me, Mr. Walters? I just think that we've kind of strayed a bit. And is it too late to get back? Is it too late to get back to what we normally, what we traditionally had? Is it too late? Or are we gone, clear?
The times have changed. We have changed. The way we do things have changed, and it will continue to change. Okay, so I don't know that we will be able to go back to where we were, but we have to ensure that as we go forward, we talk about what is happening and see how we could, you know, guide it in a direction that would be beneficial for us and our children and those to come after us.
Okay. All right, Monty. We have 8 minutes. We
Yeah, Colin, I wanted to bring something into to the conversation because you know, it's all we sit down and we think about how Christmas was and the tradition and how where it has what it has become, right? But what I want to actually speak to is what in terms of as a father when I became a parent, how that changed my perspective on Christmas. So let me just say this: when I remember, because remember I said when I was a child, or whatever it is, when I became a teenager, one of the things that came with Christmas is there's a lot of events, parties, lime, all this kind of thing, and it's about drinking and having a good time, right? But one of the things once I became a father, I decided that Christmas, because of my experience as a child and what my parents did for me, and they showed that Christmas was a family oriented event, I tried to create the same conditions for my child and children by extension and my family in its entirety, right? So there's just certain things. So let me just give an example. Whereas when I was, would have been early 20s, had no children, as people say, had chicken or chack, right? I may go out that Christmas Eve, come back in daylight, take me on a daylight, take you, make a day, you make a daylight, you know. And once I decided that I was going to become a father and I had children, one of the things I never wanted to do is for my child or my children to wake up next morning, right? And I'm not present, or if I am present, I am seemingly intoxicated or have a foul breath because of how much I drank the night before, or just the aroma of alcohol. Because when if you drink alcohol, sometimes it comes back through your pores and whatever the case may be. So I made changes when it came to that of becoming a parent. I had a different perspective on that of Christmas, and some of the same things that I grew up seeing and knowing is what I decided I was going to the example I was going to, you know, to set there for my kids and for my family, you know. So I just wanted to give that perspective because I think it is a, as parents and as fathers, it's an important perspective to take on board because too often, just like we know Christmas has been a family oriented event, I think sometimes too often some parents we don't do what is necessary to make sure that the conditions are right for our family so that they could feel that warmth and togetherness. And by extension, I think that's why sometimes we see so much dysfunction in families because we're just not willing to make those sacrifices, right? And that's why I just wanted to shine a light on those sacrifices that I decided to make as a father moving forward once I became a parent.
Okay. I'll
Yeah.
give Mr. Walters and Yusuf the opportunity to as well to, some of the changes that you have made, especially around the Christmas season, to make sure that you have that family togetherness.
Mm. Well, I mean, I mentioned one of the big ones before in terms of ensuring that I have, the family gatherings at my home. So once I got married and had kids, and so I decided, okay, this whole family thing is something that I want to do, and I want to ensure that I keep it as a tradition, so that after I'm gone, my children will continue that. Okay, that's one of the changes, one of the major changes that I made. Yourself?
Well, for me, what I would have done is around that time especially, I tend to pay more attention to the children in terms of meeting their needs in terms of what they have, in the context of they're seeing other people and their friends getting this, that, and the other. So I try to make sure they have what they need and show them that it's not everything you want you could get, and there's appropriate time for certain things. Basically,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh, all right. All right. So as we look to, wrap up this conversation, we've been discussing, different angles concerning the commercialization of Christmas. What are some of the advice that you would like, I would give everyone the opportunity to, what advice you would like to give, people listening or viewing this program, especially with regards, Christmas and how can we bring back the true meaning of what Christmas is for average Canadian.
Guess I
So,
could take a stab at it.
yep, take a stab at
So
that.
this is how I would put it: things matter, prioritize. Prioritize in terms of what you need and what do you want. Look in terms of long term. Is this beneficial to me now? And am I just thinking short term with respect to buying stuff? With respect to family, I would say reach out as much as you could. Try to form that bond and togetherness. Let's be more charitable to each other so that around those times there's not that need and urge to go overboard. If we would do it a little every day kind of thing. That's mine.
And I like that. I like the last part you said very much. If you're doing a little piece, all the time, and Christmas is what it is, and so we have to ensure that our children or family understand what Christmas is, what it's all about, and so forth. But to me, it should not be different or so different to other times, because if my children want something and I can afford it, then I give it to them once they need it. Once I see that it's something that they should have. Okay, so around Christmas time now, yes, it's we understand it's extra and people look forward to whatever, but it's what you can afford, right? So you're going with what this is what we can afford, and this is what we are going to do. So I'm not going to go to the bank and take a loan just so that I can buy a PSP or a PlayStation or whatever for the kids. Okay, if I can afford it, I buy it. If I can't afford it, okay, we live within our means, and our children need to understand why it is that we need to live within our means. Otherwise, if we start them off on this foot where we try to live above our means, then we setting them up on giving them a bad precedence there. So we really need to understand that. So Christmas, again, it is what it is, but we have to again bring the families together and ensure that our children or families feel uh, comfortable around that time.
Yeah. Go on. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Right, Monty? Yep,
So
Monty.
if
Yep,
I
yep.
had to, and maybe maybe giving advice, maybe not the right way to put things, but so here's how I would put it. The way I see Christmas and by extensions holiday, right? Because Christmas might be the holiday that we're speaking of now, but there are other holidays we we celebrate like Easter and other holidays, right? I see it as a holiday. It's about family, you know, um, and getting your family together, instilling values, and as both Mr. Walters and Mr. Ben had alluded to, it's about a balance, about affordability, right? What may make Mr. John child happy, you know, Mr. Ben child might want much less to be happy. It's all in contextual, right? I have a philosophy is that once on Christmas morning or the Christmas holidays, I see a smile on my children face and they are happy, they are comfortable. That is what is the most important thing to me. So putting food on the table is paramount and the number one priority for me. So that they not necessarily had a belly full, but we all know that it's try to fill their belly around Christmas. But and they allow them to go a little bit excess on the sweets and so. But once I get that smile from them on Christmas morning that they're happy, that goes that gives me enough fuel for the next till the next Christmas. You understand? Um, I think I saw somebody made something in the comments that people we give gifts also throughout the year now. So sometimes maybe even giving gifts around Christmas may have, I don't know, I wouldn't say lost its significance, but there's something about Christmas and giving gifts and sharing is just something that you can't duplicate any other time of the year.
Right,
Yeah, and the sharing is a very important component because I look somebody up. We doing cleaning and look somebody just passed up to today and it was like so I see I have a baby. Can you have it? I say I can't give you this one, but I think I have one. And I told her, I say, okay, check me tomorrow. You could get it. You understand? It's about being charitable for people also who is in need and don't have as much as you may have. You
right.
know, because something that might be your garbage might be gold for somebody else. So I want to give that message to be charitable and instill good values in your children. So Walter said it best, not everything that children want they could get, because you'll be setting a bad precedent if you grow your children up that way. Yeah.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. All right. So, I really appreciate, the perspectives, different perspective that I got here today. This show will be the last show for this year. But Monty, next year we come back,
I think it's on the
fresh.
7th. I think it's on
Yes,
the
on the 7th. Yep, we
7th
come
of
back
January.
on the 7th of January. And we really appreciate people to just help us build this. We want to give people in the comment section the opportunity to send in their questions, and also participate in the discussion. And Monty, I'm not sure if you want to use the opportunity to, what can we expect, from the PTA, from the Parent Teachers Association of the Anglican High School come next year. I don't know if you want to take the opportunity just to quickly, yeah.
Yes, yes. Well, let me just take this opportunity to say thanks again. I really appreciate you, Colin, for giving us this platform and this collaboration so that we can advance the family, advance the needs of fathers and our children by extension, right? Um, for the new year 2024, we hoping to start off with a bang, and we want to do some fun days, some health walks for the health walk for the father. We even have a father-daughter dance going to be coming up. You know, that's something that I'm really looking forward to. And when it comes to the talk show in particular, we want to be able, because we just started and we was just sitting on a team Father Knows Best, and I just never want people to move away for the idea that mothers or anybody else is not available. So we're gonna be inviting some of the mothers and even children in 2024. So we would have a more diverse cast, and I hope to see some of them taking up the opportunity to come on board. You know, thanks to all the members of my executive that supports all the endeavors. Thanks to the principal of the Anglican High School and all the teachers that make things happen. And thanks to all the fathers that continue to support this venture and this initiative. Um, Last but not least, thanks even to Martin. I want to just give you a hail because of this new initiative of creating this Fathers Association. The GBSS is as well is going to, I think is one they want to start a Fathers Association, and so we could collaborate on a lot of different initiatives. So I'm looking forward to 2024 that we can make this the all this a reality and much more. Thanks, Golan.
All right. Yep, sorry about that. I'm not sure what happened there. With technology, things happen. But Mr. Walters and Yusuf, I want to give you just the opportunity, some last closing comments as we wrap up this program.
Thank you very much, and thanks, Monty and the team for having me on the program this afternoon. And I look forward to making contributions whenever I can. And I just want to now wish everyone happy holidays, and we look forward to the best in 2024. Thank you.
Right. So if I may say again, thanks for the opportunity. Blessings and love and peace to all. Remember again, this program really is about, despite its name again, Father Knows Best. It's really about an avenue or a area that fathers, that men could step up to the plate, that we could have men being present, be role models for our sons and daughters. Too often men are absent. So the whole idea again about this really is about getting men on board, getting them to show up, being mentors for sons and daughters, and even mentors to our own selves for others, So again, be the will of the Lord. See you all next year, 2024, and hopefully we would have a wider perspective. Thank you.
All right.
Have a
And
blessed
I'll
one.
take okay. And I'll thank you so much. And I'll take the opportunity to greet the panel here. Season greetings. Yusuf, just educate me on, I know that you don't celebrate Christmas. How do I help me here?
No, you could just say peace, peace
Peace.
and
All right.
blessings.
Peace and
Yes,
blessings. All right. Peace and
yes.
blessing. All right. All right. Peace and blessings. So thank you so much. Lovely conversation. I appreciate the perspectives, and definitely we'll see next year, 2024, for another episode of Father Knows Best. Thank you so much, and good night.
Thank you, and good night.